We still have some people getting on, but we'll go ahead and get started. I will unmute Mayor McCormick and keep the rest of you muted if that's just because of there's outside noises. If you have a question for the mayor, we will put it in the chat, and we will get to questions after the mayor has spoken. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. I didn't do that right. Hold on. Here. We muted him. How do I unmute him? Mayor, can you unmute yourself? I thought I could for you.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us?
Oh,
now?
yes, there you are.
Okay.
Okay, good. Take it away.
My tech guy here bailed us out on that one.
Yeah, high tech. I'm very high tech.
Well, for those out, since this is we're treading on new water here. I'm Mike McCormick. I'm the mayor of the village of Godfrey. And John Keller said I should tell a little bit of my history. Prior to this, I used to own Emo's Pizza. I started that franchise back in 1992. Sold it in 2005 and thought I was going to retire at that time. Actually, I was retired for a 4-year period there, but during that 4-year period, I got elected trustee to the village of Godfrey, and I got talked into running for mayor, and I ran for mayor, and I was very fortunate to win that election, and I've been here for 15 years now, and it's the best job I've ever had. You get a lot of satisfaction when you drive down Stamper Road, seeing all those kids playing soccer or baseball or whatever it is, and particularly just recently driving down Stamper Road and seeing those adults playing pickleball, and that's quite exciting to me to see the good things that happened. As far as the village of Godfrey, I think across the board, a lot of good things are happening. And we're having business development, and we got a lot of construction going on, and Godfrey's just a nice place to live, and it's a very safe place, and it still has some ruralness to it. It's not a Edwardsville or Fairview Heights, but we have everything people need here, and it's just a nice community to reside in. I'll go through some of the things that we've done since I've been mayor. Well, just within the last year, different things we've done. We're very supportive of business here. Many years ago, we created a TIF district and a business district, and we've been able to help enhance local businesses using these tools. Like this past year, we spent $78,000 on commercial property grants. Somebody wants to improve their property, put a new sign up, do their parking lot. We have a way that will help them pay for that. Not all of it, but they got to pay the biggest portion. But what we put into it is enough to encourage people to improve their property, and we put a lot of money into that. And we also spent like $62,000 in this past year with the Big Z Media pushing and advertising stuff going on in Godfrey, giving away prizes for people to get gift cards to different establishments in the village, maybe Josephine's or Baker and Hale, or many of our fine businesses, which gives those businesses exposure. We also just recently, within the last year and a half, put a digital sign outside Village Hall here at the corner of Lars Hoffman and Godfrey Road, that any community organization that wants to put some sort of an advertisement up there, we're more than happy to help them do that. And it also gives a lot of information about the village of Godfrey. And just recently we were advertising that polar plunge, which is not the right term, but still call it the polar plunge. That fundraiser they had out of Claysbrook Park, where people actually got in the lake, and it wasn't as cold as this past Saturday, but the Saturday before it was still pretty cold out there. And they raised a lot of money that went to the YWCA, which was a nice affair. And as far as I got a cheat sheet here, to be honest. As far as new construction over the last year, there's been over $7 million of residential permits put out, over $1.1 million worth of commercial permits put out. Actual construction that's been going on in the village is BJC, which is finished now. Illinois American Water, which is about ready to have a ribbon cutting. The firehouse. Scooter's Coffee, Patty's Pedal, and pediatric dentist office. It's going to be located on Lars Hoffman, which I think is a nice addition to the village of Godfrey. And then there's the car wash that's up there by the Quick Trip. Not a day passes that somebody doesn't ask me about the car wash. And I wish I had the answers to the car wash, but they think they're going to be done by this summer. And there's been a lot of money spent there, a lot of construction. They've not been in a big hurry, which is quite obvious. And I've driven over to Edwardsville to look at their other location, and I understand why the building's built the way it is, why it's so tall, because it's the same way their building over at Edwardsville is. And I think that'll be another good addition to the village of Godfrey. Last night at our meeting, we approved a liquor license for a Mexican restaurant that has just purchased the Chicken Pig, which that building didn't sit vacant for very long. So we got somebody that bought that building, already started work on remodeling it, and it's going to be a Mexican restaurant. El Mezcal, or not? No, that's not the name of it. Maguey.
El Maguey.
El Maguey. The same people that run the El Maguey over at Edwardsville and over in Florissant. But I think this one's going to have a different name and a different corporation. I understand why they do that, because if one business gets sued, having been in the business, I understand why they want to do that. They don't want to connect one store in case something happens, they get sued. And I think that's going to be a good addition. We're going to get a nice liquor store just north of the Dollar Tree, which I think that's supposed to close within the next week or so. And it's a liquor store that's located in Effingham. That's the only other location. But from all I understand and all the research I've done on it, it's going to be a really nice addition to the village of Godfrey. In fact, a couple weekends after I first heard about this coming to Godfrey, before we even found a location, a piece of property for them to locate, I was up at Grafton Winery, the one up by Acker's, talking to the owner up there. I said, "Have you ever heard of these people?" They said, "Well, heck yes. They sell more of our wine than any other retail outlet in anywhere." And they were very excited about that opening up, and that was good enough to win me over. I think it'll be a good addition to the village of Godfrey, because it'll attract from other communities. And most people don't realize, but the village of Godfrey doesn't run on the property tax. You know, we get like $468,000 $100,000 a year off of the property tax of the whole village of Godfrey. And we run off of sales tax. And when we get new retail, it makes a difference on the things we could do. And, you know, when you got a $10 million a year budget, which the village of Godfrey does have, which is an awful lot of money, but you got to bear in mind all the stuff we do. And till I got actually involved in it, I didn't realize how much happens in the village. And so that's why we're so in favor of economic development and growing our business in our community, but not too fast. And constantly, I'm always get questions from people. You need to get this. You need to get that. You don't get things. Things get you. They come to you, and they got to show interest. And we've tried to do everything possible to make Godfrey a very appealing community to businesses by the TIF district, the enterprise zone, which will help a business if they come there. Like, I'll give you an example, like the enterprise zone, when that top shelf comes to the village of Godfrey, starts building their building, because they're in the enterprise zone, they won't have to pay any tax on any of the materials that go into the building of that location, which is a lot of money. And I think it's a nice tool that the village of Godfrey has here. As far as our street work, and I gotta salute our guys again. We've had this terrible weather here just recently. Friday night, they were out salting the streets. They had 3 trees down throughout the village of Godfrey because of the winds, and they got all the streets open. And once again, our street guys do a wonderful job keeping our streets clear when we have a snow, but the work that they do when we're not removing snow is it's changed quite a bit since I've been mayor. Like this last year, we've done over 8 miles of asphalt paving, where we've taken what used to be oil and chipped roads and milled them and overlaid them with asphalt and made them a street that's a lot of improvement and will last for quite a while. We've done a lot of concrete replacement this last year. We've done a lot of concrete replacement work in Storyland subdivision and on West Woodfield Drive. And we also did some micro surfacing, which are roads in a certain amount of condition, we can micro surface. So we did almost 2 miles of that. And that's all in 1 year. When I first became mayor, I inherited the project of running sewers out to out Delmar all the way out to the subdivision out there that was having the sewer problems. And after the sewer project was complete, because they ran all the sewers down the middle of the street throughout the subdivision, it was a 3 to 4 year project after we completed the sewer work to get all the streets repaved out there. And then we hired that out. We were spending $400,000 roughly every year on hiring an outside contractor to put asphalt down. Then about 2 or 3 years after we got that completed, we started seeing if our guys could lay asphalt, and it turned out they did. And through the years, we keep buying better equipment, wider spreaders, and so they can get more streets done. And, you know, our goal is to get every oil and chip road asphalted. It's going to take quite a few years to get that done. Now every other year we oil and chip, which we didn't do any oil and chipping this year. So next year we'll be doing some oil and chipping, but we don't do as much as they used to do. It used to be Godfrey had a lot of oil and chip roads, And about 5 years ago, we hired a company that came in that had this vehicle that would drive every street in the village of Godfrey. And it had all this tech stuff in it. And they gave us a list of what streets need to be repaired first. And the condition of every street in the village of Godfrey, which allows us to have something to work to. And if something happens where our public works or our engineer thinks the street needs to be moved up because something that's happened on that street, then we have the flexibility to do that. But our goal is to, do 6, 7, 8 miles of asphalt every year. And thanks to the motor fuel money we get and the fact that Godfrey has a little bit of money, we've been able to do that. And it's probably not off, it's not really been talked a lot of, but that's some people it's controversial, but I think there's going to be a dispensary coming to the village of Godfrey. It's going to be financially good for the village of Godfrey, and it's going to our zoning board tonight and our regular village board in February. And the amount of tax money that we would receive off of that is, we'll find a vehicle for that, just like we did with our video gaming. When the video gaming came to the village of Godfrey, we made a commitment to just spend the profits that the village gets off of video gaming on our parks. And along with grants and that money, it's been a great improvement to our parks over the last 10, 12 years. From like I mentioned earlier, the baseball diamonds, Godfrey side of Stamper, they weren't there. Now they're there. They're also lighted. The turf field for soccer, that was not there. That's all been helped pay for by video gaming money. And so we'll do the same thing with the money that we get off of the dispensary, and something good for all the residents of the village of Godfrey. And at this time, can I open it up for questions?
Well, sure. And I'll help you out with a comment and a question as well. First, your polar plunge is actually called Freezing for Funds.
Freezing for funds.
So, and I believe that it was only the second year for it.
And they skipped a year in between. Yeah.
Well, right. But that second year doubled the first year's donations. So if anybody's involved with a nonprofit organization, you should check into this for the following year, because it's a contest actually with your donation, who gets pulled out of the hat by how many dollars get put into the hat, then pull one name out, be the recipient. One other quick thing, Mike, you talked about enterprise zone and that type of thing to encourage business to come into the area, but we also have a tool, you have a tool, I should say, that helps existing businesses, and you have a facade program.
Yes.
If you want to touch on that a little bit, any existing business owner that might be on here could take advantage of this.
Which I did kind of touch on that a little bit, that, this last year we spent $78,000 on facade improvements. And if you got a project coming up, I'd advise that you've got to be located in our business district, which is pretty much most of Godfrey Road and a little bit down Delmar. If you got a business in there and you want to do a project, come up and talk to us. And financially, we got the money to help you pay for that project. If you want a new sign for your business, if you want to paint the front of your business, if you want to upgrade your parking lot, we can help pay for that. And I think that's something very nice in this community. And it's I'll give you an example. For years and years, the ranch house had a gravel parking lot, and through this facade program, they were able to pave that parking lot, which makes all of Godfrey Road look that much better. And uh, it's been a nice tool that's been used throughout the year, and I think people of Godfrey should be pretty proud that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Godfrey like supporting our local business by and also encouraging the growth of new business.
Are there any questions in the chat, Debbie?
Well, I have one, and I put a link in the chat. Mayor, you want to touch on the Godfrey newsletter that Jim Megger puts out? I think residents need to get on that list. I put a link in the chat for people to go straight to it. But the January issue talks about the hotel study. Do you want to touch on that?
Sure, about maybe a year and a half ago, Jim Baker, our economic development director, started putting out this newsletter, and it's he's covered different businesses in the community, and it's kind of a nice little newspaper, and we'd be glad to send it to anybody that wants it. All they got to do is sign up, and we will send it to them via email. And it's every time I read it, it kind of puts a smile on my face, just because there's some humorous things that Jim Megger, in his own way, puts in there. And but once a month we salute a local business. He at one time went through every employee of the Village of Godfrey and gave their backgrounds, and now he picks a different subject every time, every month, and it's sign up for it and get it, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I wish there was an easier way than sending emails out to distribute it, but it'd be very expensive to mail out.
There is a question in the chat. What are some bills coming out of the State House that you are keeping your eye out on that will affect Godfrey residents and business owners?
The big one I'm keeping my eye on is home rule. They're trying to reduce the population of home rule. Right now, if you're a community over $25,000, 25,000 people, you're considered a home rule community, and you can do more things without approval of the state. And I really don't know all the total benefits to it, because Godfrey's not a home rule community. But that's what I'm really looking at. And I also serve on the Illinois Municipal League, which represents of the 1,225 or 35 communities in the state of Illinois, they represent 1,225. And it's basically a lobbying group for municipalities. And I'm fortunate enough to be a board member on that. There's 32 mayors from throughout the state that serve on this board. And in fact, this afternoon, I have a Zoom meeting at 2:00. Excuse me, let me get a drink here. Talking so much, I'm getting a dry mouth. I serve on the legislative committee of that. So there'll be myself, the actual employee of the Illinois Municipal League that goes to the Capitol every day, and 7 other mayors on this Zoom call, going over what they are pushing at the state. On a daily basis, I get an email from the Illinois Municipal League giving me status on different bills pertaining to the municipalities. But the one that interests me the most, like I was saying, is the home rule, getting that down. And The other thing I'm interested in is the shared funds. I don't know. 14, 15 years ago, the state cut the shared funds. There's always, there's sales tax, there's heritage tax. Municipalities are supposed to get a certain percent of a lot of these funds. And when they were originally set up, it was 10%. But now we're only getting about 7%. And every, whatever the state reps meet, the municipal league is pushing for to get that back up to the 10%, which the state always pushes back. Any other questions?
There aren't any more in the chat unless I missed one. Well, you got a good job on the road crew. They do a good job. What's the status of the roundabout?
Oh,
I know it's a long project.
it's been in the works for, I don't know. Oh, it's been in the works probably 15 years.
Well,
Yeah.
Active in the last 4 years, IDOT approached me maybe 15 years ago and said they were looking at doing that there, and they gave me some information on them, and they asked me for a approval letter, which I gave them that, which I get asked for that a lot on different issues. And so they had a meeting, and unbeknownst to me or anybody else here at the village, including our engineer, they were planning on shutting down, because all along we thought they were gonna let traffic flow through there. But they had a meeting, and we all went there, and there was people there, and they were gonna shut the road down and leave it shut down for 9 months. So immediately the next morning, I got hold of Senator Harris, State Rep Elick, State Rep David Myers, and we all got to meet at State Rep Elick's office with people from IDOT, and they people that work at IDOT, they respond to the elected officials that are statewide, like Elick and Harris and those people. And now they've changed their plans, and it's going to remain open the whole time it's under construction, which is not going to inconvenience people as much as people were worried about, and some businesses were worried about. But their plan right now is to start the whole project based upon the school year at Evangelical. Right now they're in the land acquisition part of putting this whole thing together. And if they have all the land they need, when Evangelical gets out of school this summer, they're going to work on Cook Street, which is that street that runs in front of Evangelical. And they're going to do that part first. So the Delmar and Homer Adams will remain the same during that whole summer process. And as soon as they get Cook Street done, they're going to take the stoplights out, build a temporary road around the construction area, and traffic will be able to flow, even flow faster than it does now, because there won't be any stoplights there, and start construction. And it'll probably take a good year and a half, maybe 2 years to get the construction done. There's a lot of mixed feelings about the roundabouts, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the future. You go to any community, Highland, Belleville, all these communities have roundabouts, and they keep building them because they work. They're good for the, you're not stop there, put pollution in the air from your cars is one of the big arguments, but it keeps the traffic flowing, and it also reduces the chance of having bad wrecks, which was part of the argument on the roundabouts, because there's been so many throughout the years wrecks at that whole intersection there. And I mean, most of them don't get publicized but when you ran the records with Madison County Sheriff's Department, it's quite obvious that there's an awful lot of wrecks there. And also my daughter is a dental hygienist at the dental office there. And of course, she sees a lot of wrecks there because she's there during the day. And I think it'll be a good addition to the village of Godfrey. It'll make us potentially have more room for growth eventually. And I think Godfrey's going to grow, but it's got to be pretty much controlled. There's a lot of, construction, a lot of nice houses being built in the village of Godfrey. And I think my goal as being the mayor of the village of Godfrey is to move the village forward, but kind of keep it the same place that people wanted to move here forward, to have the safety, the quietness. Let's push the growth like Godfrey Road and down Delmar, but let's keep this quaint subdivisions like Rockgate and DeAdrian, all those nice subdivisions in the village of Godfrey, the nice places they are, which was been another pet peeve of mine since I've been mayor. Our zoning department were very, very proactive on trying to respond to people not taking care of their property, because when your neighbor's property is not being taken care of, that hurts the value of your property. And we do everything within the legal boundaries we can to force people to at least maintain their property. And if somebody is not maintaining their property, what we do, we'll write them a letter and we'll give them a week to get it fixed up or show us some plan what they're trying to do. And if they don't respond to that in a week, we'll go in there and mow the grass, take care of the weeds, and send them a bill. If they don't pay that bill in another week, we put a lien on the property. And a lot of those liens we will probably never collect, but at least we're making an effort trying to keep this community nice and not have any rundown derelict pieces of property. And if any of you out there listening are residents of the village of Godfrey, or even somebody driving through the Godfrey and you see something that doesn't look right or you don't like it, we don't drive the streets looking for it. We totally respond to people's complaints, and we do respond to complaints when people complain. And I think it's been working pretty well so far. We have a contract with the Madison County Sheriff's Department to do our police protection. But when we negotiated that last one thing I asked for is that the state's attorney's office would be part of that deal, where they represent us when we have a zoning issue that has to go to court. Now we don't have to pay legal fees for an attorney to represent us when we take somebody to court over other zoning issues like that, which has changed things here immensely, because before you had to justify, do I want to spend $400 on an attorney to take this guy to court to get him fined $100 and he still doesn't fix his property? So now it's been a big benefit to the village of Godfrey, big benefit to our funds, because we don't have to pay for the attorney to do that. And every Friday we're in court down there in Alton with 4 or 5 people that have to go before the judge, and it's all part of making Godfrey a place that people want to live.
Mayor, it looks like Ed has a question. He raised his hand, so I'm gonna unmute him, I think. Apparently I can't do that. Ed, can you take yourself off mute and ask your question? Or put it in the chat, which we prefer.
If it's the ad, I think it is. You probably don't know how to put it in the chat. And if it's not the ad, I think it is. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Well, I guess he's not still there. Melissa Meskey wanted to give us a heads up to make sure you get your February issue of the Illinois Business Journal because Jim Megger has a guest piece that will cover the hotel study.
That is good. Yeah, we've done 2 previous hotel studies. One within the first year or so that I was mayor, and then one I don't know, maybe 7 years ago. And when I became mayor, 255 wasn't here yet, and I was under the feeling or thought that when 255 got here, things would boom like it. I mean, things boomed in Bethalto when 255 went through there, even though Bethalto was a nice community, but a lot of things happened. And getting back to what I was saying earlier about keeping the neighborhoods the same, 255 would help feed into the development of Godfrey Road. And I still firmly believe that a hotel located up here, like close to 255, across from Village Hall, would be supported, and there is a need, especially with the way our park systems are growing and all of the tournaments we have out there. And we got Beverly Farms, we got Wilson Clark Community College. Just in Beverly Farm alone, there's a lot of people who come here to visit their family that are residents there, and they spend 2 or 3 days here or whatever. Yeah, I think there's a big need for it, and we're trying to do anything we possibly can to make it happen. And we just keep trying. You got to keep trying.
Well, Mike, I'll ask a question real quick here. May have a long answer, may have a very short answer, but it has to do with future growth. The Top Shelf Beer, Wine, and Spirits, you just stated, has bought property, will start construction north of the Dollar Tree. And I just saw an auction, real estate auction sign there. Long story short, when that happens, you think that could spur some development future years?
I think it will. That's why. Are we still? Even our screen has changed here. Are we?
Yes, I'm not for sure. Who is this? Whoever has shared their screen, please turn it off. Thank you.
Technology on.
No, there's no screen at all, but I guess, can you still hear us?
Yes, we can still hear you. And I do have that question when you're done.
It was perfect. As far as that Top Shelf, let's talk about Walmart. It's going to be located across the street from Walmart. Walmart likes Godfrey. And Walmart store is one of the super centers. Over the last 2.5, 3 years, they put like close to $3 million in improvements into that store, including solar over the whole roof. Anybody that goes into Walmart can see the differences they made in the inside. And the gas station out in front of Walmart is Walmart run, and it was the first one in the state of Illinois. Usually Walmart leased that space out to a contractor to run the gas station, but that's a Walmart run gas station. They have their own separate liquor license from the store, but it's run by Walmart. And like I said, it was the first one in the state of Illinois. and the 5th one in the whole United States of America. And Walmart keeps putting money into that store, which means they like Godfrey. And that's what when we're talking to a business, that's the number one thing I like to talk about. And but like John said, when that top shelf comes here, we're all thinking, well, that encourage some more growth. And that's the area where we're trying to encourage the growth. And as Godfrey, Godfrey doesn't have a business district, and that's just Godfrey Road is not really a business district, but it's got more business than it has homes. But you drive along Godfrey Road, there'll be some homes, then all of a sudden you got a business, which makes it, there's been talk of creating a business district, but I don't think how you can create a business district. So we're trying to promote growth, and when you get a big business like this Top Shelf, at least if it does what it does in Effingham, it'll be huge. It might encourage some other businesses. And,
Mayor, that other question did come through. Can you comment on the status of Woodman Bike Trail?
Actually, we got approved at our board meeting last night to go out for bids on one phase of it. The phase would be, we got the money in hand. The phase would be that will go from La Vista Park through the Woodman property, cross back over there and stop at the church there and that's going to be the first phase. And the next phase,
In the Boy Scout camp?
yeah, by the Boy Scout camp, which will allow people that live in River Air to get on their bikes and ride down through La Vista, get on the River Road and drive all the way to Grafton or drive down to Alton. And that's been something we've been pushing for a lot of years, and we'll run into a lot of roadblocks with IDOT because they have rules where you can't take trees down only but 3 months out of the year because of some sort of bat made in these trees. And actually, the state of Illinois makes things hard for a municipality, and but it's finally getting started. And the reason for the name of it is because the Woodmans are donating a lot of property towards that bike path, and I'm very excited to see it get started, and I'll be more excited to see it completed. And the first thought when we started pushing for this was be able to get on a bike at Glazebrook Park or Lewis and Clark Community College, get on your bicycle and ride all the way to SIU Edwardsville, and which would be true once we get that done. That the next big pet peeve of mine since I've been mayor is the condition of the bike path on the River Road, the San Vidalbean bike path, which was the first bike path in Madison County. It's maintained by IDOT, and it's a terrible shape, period.
Mm-hmm.
It's my wife's she rides bike a lot in the summertime, and rather than ride on the bike path just below our house, because we live on the river there, she'll put her bike on the back of her vehicle and go over towards Edwardsville and ride on the bike path over there, which is something that the mayor of Godfrey does not like saying, but it's the truth. And I've been in many meetings with people from IDOT about taking better care of that, and it doesn't happen, and it's very frustrating.
Are there any other questions for the mayor?
Okay, Well, there being none, I thank everybody for getting on here today and hope you walk away with some new information you didn't have before. And look for that link to the Godfrey newsletter. And we thank you for your participation.
Our next mayor update will be February 21st at noon, and our speaker will be Alton Mayor Goins. So watch for a link to sign up for that one. We plan to continue these throughout 2024.
Well, I hope I did a good enough job to encourage people to listen to David
Yes.
Goins as the guinea pig here.
You did great. You're getting lots of thank yous and thanks for your time in the chat. So
That's what this job's all about.
we just, yeah, we wanted to
And
help our mayors get their information out.
thank you. Thank everybody for listening and tuning in and my tech guy sitting next to me here,
Oh,
John.
yeah, I did a lot. I like your background, George.
Ooh, now I have to go look.
That's George. All right. Paprika.
Oh, yes, he looks like he's in the mountains.
George McGilver, he's just George Guest, but I
George
like your
Guest.
background. If you hear. All right, guys.
Okay,
Thanks
we'll
for
wrap this up. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Bye-bye.
Turn off up to the right. I'll get you.